Perth housing falls. Will stimulus save it? Let's have a look. Good afternoon, everyone. Florian Heiser here, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. I have my stein of coffee, and I hope you've all had a good Monday and a start to a new financial year. Exciting times. So, let's get this financial year started by looking at this article about Perth house prices falling and how the government there is hoping that a stimulus package will encourage more people to jump back into the market. Personally, it just seems a bit misplaced. You know, they want to have more stimulus to get more people to get into debt, to get into housing, when housing is steadily falling all around the country. But, yeah, anyway. So, Perth house prices are down 9.1% for the past year, according to analytics firm CoreLogic, but the state government hopes its stimulus plan will help. Now, if we have a look here, we've got a survey, and I'll wipe this in, just showing you the value of different house results or predicted house results. This is an RBA survey. And what do we have here? Perth houses, they're predicted to fall 3% by 2019 and 4.63% for units. So they're predicted to go down. And over the past year, they've gone down, 9.1%, as they're saying. So not that good. Not that good, but they are predicted to head down. And if we all know about the economy over in WA, it's very, it's a service-based, natural resource-based, iron ore, liquid petroleum. So it is influenced significantly by foreign demands for their natural resources. Okay, and you can see here, my favorite website that whenever I talk about the economy, whenever I read anything about the economy, I jump to this, just looking at our economic complexity here in Australia. And I'll scroll up to the top. You can see here that we're 59th out of 126 countries. That's because the complexity of our economy, and this is measured in what our exports are. We're not talking complex, highly manufactured goods. We're talking, the first tier of goods just dug out of the ground. Iron ore, processed, coal, petroleum, copper, gold, wheat. We're not talking advanced electronics. We're not talking, manufacturing. I don't think we even build cars in Australia anymore. So this is something that we all, people need to keep in mind. Fortunately, we're exporting more than we're importing, which is good, which is what you want. But it also means we're dependent, a big portion of our country is dependent on foreign export revenue. And where's that going? Where is that going? Hang on, we'll go down here. You can see here. Look at where our exports are going. China, Japan, South Korea, India, the rest of Asia, Indonesia. So Indonesia is similar to the States. States is 3.5, Indonesia is 2.5%. Hong Kong is bigger for us, for our export market, than the US. So just keep that all in mind, guys, when you're reading these type of these articles and all these predictions, and the government's pinning their hopes on how much influence they can actually have on the economy. You have to be a little bit cynical about all of this, because remember, this is also spin. This is spin. There's two things. You'll notice the news articles, they love the fear. And I just see it in my content. If I put the word, housing crash, or if I talk about something concerning, you'll get much more traction, much more clicks than if you spin something positive. It's just human nature, sadly. And so you need to take that into account when you look at the government trying to say they can influence it, because there's all this other stuff. There's all of this here. Sure, they can have some influence over it, but not as much as you might think on a global scale of things. If Trump has a good day and, has some good news, does a tweet, that may have more impact on parts of our economy than other stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's a joke. Hopefully it's not. So property values in Perth are continuing to fall, but the West Australian government is hoping its stimulus plan will encourage more people to enter the housing market. Perth house prices dropped 0.7% in June to be down 9.1% for the past year, according to data released on Monday by property analytics firm CoreLogic. Now, is it ethical for the government to be encouraging people to enter the housing market when you're having more and more people being stuck in negative equity? When you have issues like Mascot Towers, like Opal Towers, where people are trapped into these properties. Maybe let me know what you think in the comments. In the state budget in May, the Labor government announced a temporary 6-month increase to the Key Start first home buyers income limits by $15,000 for singles and couples and $20,000 for families. The changes come into effect on Monday and it will end on January the 1. Okay, so there is a time limit there. It's the artificial scarcity. It's a psychological trick that they use in sales. I'm sure that's not what they're doing here. They're not artificially saying, oh, you got to get in before January 1. Quick, or you'll miss out on this free money. What do you think? Premier Mark McGowan said broadening the eligibility for the scheme would give more people a chance to own their own home. A targeted housing stimulus will also deliver a much-needed boost to the state's construction industry, which will create new jobs and support the economy, he said. See, that's the thing. Okay, it will create new jobs. Let's just have a little bit of a talk about this in the construction industry. Say you're building a spec home, and by that I mean just a standard AV Jennings, a home like that. Sure, it'll probably create some more work for the builder, then for all of the trades. How many of those trades do you think will actually employ someone? Maybe it'll create more work. Maybe the tradies will work a bit extra, but do you think they'll actually take anyone on for a program like this? I think it'll be temporary additional work, which is good, which is not a bad thing. But it's not like, this is going to be... Yeah, I'm just cynical about it because it's Perth and WA that, it's so dependent on those foreign resources. And I've had friends who have bought property in Perth. It took them a long time to sell because it shot up. It went really high. And there's a lot of people with negative equity in Perth. So Housing Industry Association Executive Director Kath Hart said the temporary broadening of access to Key Start loans was announced. There's already been a significant upsurge in interest from potential home buyers. Key Start figures show a 75% increase in inquiries and 80 applicants subsequently lodged by people who were previously ineligible, about half of whom may also have access to the first homeowners grant. Wait, so this is on top of the first homeowners grant. This is a different thing. Wow. Okay. The McCowan government took a step to correct the measures taken nationally that impacted the WA home building industry disproportionately, Ms. Hart said. We were at a different point in the cycle to the eastern states, and those changes reversed the early signs of recovery. Really? I thought your construction there was being affected so much by all of the resource sector work over there, it was hard to get trades. At least that was what I was told when I was speaking to people who were working on projects over there, or we were going in on teams for submissions. But Liberal opposition spokesman Shane Lestrange said, while stimulating the housing sector was an important goal, the primary purpose of the government should be growing the economy and ensuring people have secure jobs. Well, yeah, there you go. There's the ideological difference coming through between the two sides of government over there. I tend to agree more to this, although I don't know how. I think both sides want to grow the economy and ensure people have secure jobs. Both sides want to do that. It's just how they go about doing it. Labor's doing it by stimulating a certain portion of the economy. Liberals just saying that has to be done. He hasn't been given a counter-proposal. Maybe he is here. Getting people to take out a mortgage where they may in turn find themselves in negative equity is not going to support job growth into the future, he told reporters. Those people will be burdened with debt and they won't have any discretionary consumer spending to be able to go out and spend in the local economy. Well, yes, exactly. Exactly. Because we saw, the other day, Australia's interest rate cuts. You can see here, this is the last report from our... Hang on, I'll bring that up. Why isn't that coming up? There we go. There it is. So you can see here our interest rate cuts from the Reserve Governor, the Governor of the Reserve Bank. And in a few days, it's predicted to go down again. It's predicted to go down again. And does that scream confidence to anyone out there in the economy? Is now the time to go into housing, or are you going to wait until there's a slight upturn or a slight, where because, if we look at this, GDP growth rate was heading down. It's trending down. Inflation, 0%. Guys, unemployment rate trending up. Sure, this may address it. This may alleviate it, but it still could be an issue. So I don't know. I think To me, it feels like a Band-Aid solution. It feels like a Band-Aid solution. There's no innovation here. There is no innovation here. This is just throwing more money, and do they have it in the budget? Where's it coming from? You know, is this going to put future generations in WA into debt for this? What other spending could it go to? If you would, let's just put it out there to the Brain Trust, the people watching the video here. What would your suggestions be to the Western Australian government as a way to stimulate their economy there, to try and encourage more growth and more employment? What would you suggest? I would argue looking at ways they could deregulate, or not deregulate, maybe reduce red tape or improve efficiencies to allow people to create opportunities, to create businesses. Maybe make it easier, and this is the ironic thing, make it easier to fire people. Make it easier to fire people. And I think there was a liberal politician mentioned that recently. I can't remember who he is, sorry. Make it easier to fire people because if it's easier to fire people, you will be braver to hire someone. Because otherwise, if you need to go through all the processes of, because right now there's no such thing as a trial period. You know, when everyone says, "Oh, you're on a probationary period," that doesn't exist. That's technically not allowed. You need to have a contract for that first 3 months, and then when that ends, you don't renew it, or you need to have two separate, and then put another contract on. So a probationary period doesn't exist. You still need to give all the notice times, but also, if you want to get rid of someone, it's a whole process you need to go through, and that's discouraging people from hiring them. That's why now you have all these big businesses. All these big businesses are jumping on board, and they're going through contracting companies, and then all these people are employed through these contracting companies as casual staff. They're not getting any of the benefits. They're not even getting treated like real employees by these businesses because they're just contractors. They're treated like dirt. And in some ways, it's really sad. It's really sad, and there's going to be a generation of people that will struggle to even get these homes at the inflated prices, even with all of the government things, because they're not going to have stable employment. Their hours will go up, down, up, down, up, down. They won't have any of the, recently I know someone who was injured on a job working for a contracting company like this, and they just told her, no, just go to work covered. Don't even talk to us. We don't have a process. We don't want an incident report, nothing. Just go to them. Why do you think that's happening? Why do you think? Because they're probably thinking that people won't do it, or they won't have the evidence, or they won't have the information, or they're too lazy to do it. But that just seems ludicrous to me. Whereas even in a small business, if you have an employee, you've got an invested interest in that person. You've got a vested interest in working with them, in helping them improve, taking care of them, working together, a bit of give and take. But in these big companies, and then if you're a contractor, they don't care. So that's why I'm a bit cynical about all of this, guys. Please let me know what you think. Do you think it's, is it going to work? Will it not work? Or let's wait to see what happens in the next few days. Are we going to get another interest rate cut? I don't know. Let me know if you're jumping to buy some housing in Perth, guys, and please let me know why. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.